It was a lovely day in the month of September 2010. My dad was going to the supermarket to get some food, and I told him that I would like to follow along. Why? Now, some of you might know the reason. Because the beauty of following your parents to the supermarket is that you get to pick a few things here and there for yourself. And usually, you don't even have to ask. You just take the item and you sneakily slide it into the cart. But not on top, though, because that would be too obvious. So you hide it under that organic box of cereal they insist you eat. And by the time they reach the cashier to unload all the items, then only do they discover this bag of Cheetos suddenly appear. They look at you. You look back. Like, what? How did that get there? And by this point, your dad looks around and notices multiple eyes all watching on him. It would just look bad if he does not let you get your bag of Cheetos. Those people would start to wonder and think, oh, I wonder how that poor widow boy was treated at home. But as the kind, good-hearted, and honest son that I am, I couldn't put my father through all that. I said to myself, you know what? If I can show the courage and respect to go up to my dad and ask him to buy something, surely he would allow it. And so that day, when I saw a yo-yo that I wanted, I went up to my father and I said, Dad, can I buy a yo-yo? He looked at me with his loving eyes, with his smile that went from ear to ear, and said, no. Ladies and gentlemen, since I was young, I was always taught to value money and to not spend it unnecessarily. But as a child, I learned something which was more important. That you have two parents for a reason. It started off as just playing with a toy. But quickly, I developed the desire to want to get better. I looked for different ways that I could do this. And so, as a 13-year-old boy at that time, as many of you here can relate to, I went online. And I found websites which were full of videos and galleries of these soft and supple curves. These curves of different colors. These curves of different sizes. The curves of a yo-yo. I immediately found and discovered new tricks, new cool tricks. And discovered that the world of yo-yos was so much bigger than what I thought it was. Over the next few years, I became a very active member in my community. I made friends from all over the world, from Japan to Australia, Singapore to the US. I traveled internationally to attend competitions and to visit other clubs. Yo-yos also connected me with my natural interest in business and gave me a chance to trade internationally. It also gave me a chance to give back to the community by sharing the love of yo-yos with children who are less fortunate. So there I was, so happy with what I was doing, so sure that my hobby, something that started off with just playing with a toy, that grew into something so much more, was surely something to be proud of. But despite the belief I had in myself, there was still something at the back of my mind which was still dragging me down. And it was the fear of being judged by others. As I move forward today, I'd like to share with all of you how a yo-yo has taught me 3 different things. Number 1, that we are not alone when it comes to the fear of being judged by others. Number 2, that in order to progress as an individual or society, we need to be aware about how much we are letting the judgment of others affect us. And number 3, that we have the power to control how we respond to others. Because the question, "What is your hobby?" was a question that I was too prepared to answer for. But at the same time, one that just made me flinch. Because when I told people that I loved yo-yos, I got a range of responses from "cool" to "you're still playing with that" to "okay." But despite what the response was, all of them had an involuntary reaction to judge my maturity. And as much as I loved my hobby, I began to hide it from the rest of the world. I avoided the question because I didn't want to lie to my friends. It made me feel insecure. Now, I am not alone when it comes to the fear of being judged by others. We've all felt it before. And sadly, we've all done it to others before. Whether it's acting differently in front of a new group of friends, not asking a question because you're worried about what your peers are going to think of you, or lying about your own passion. We have let the opinion of others affect us more than what we think of ourselves. And why? Why was I allowing other people to dictate what made me happy? The problem with us is that we care too much about what other people think. And for what reason? We fear social rejection so much that we try to look perfect so that we don't give other people a reason to reject us. While you look perfect, how do you really feel? We shove aside our values, our core beliefs, and the things that make us happy, just so that we can make others satisfied? What is the point of making other people happy if it means sacrificing our own happiness? If we focus all that energy on what other people want and not ourselves, we will begin to lose who we are. And who we are is different. We are humans with imperfections. And it's these imperfections and these differences that make us real. But as humans, that also means that we are beings of intelligence. That means we have the power to change and transform our cognitive functioning to adapt to whatever life gives us. And so today, that is what we're going to do. Today, the power is in our hands. Now, I'm not going to ask you to stop caring about what other people think of you. I'm not going to ask you to stop judging other people. I know that judging is a natural process that has been engraved in our minds for human survival. I know that that is something we cannot completely transform about ourselves or society. But we need to be aware. We need to take a step back, look at our life, and differentiate between the things that help us grow and the things that poison us from inside. Yo-yos have taught me to look at the interactions I was having with others and to transform the way I respond. I used to think that not meeting the standards of others was weakness. But I realized that my weakness was always trying to meet the standards of others. Being the victim has taught me that we have control over how we choose to respond. And that's what really matters. That a person's judgment has no bearing on you inherently, but only as much as you allow it to. That a person's judgment, the weight it bears, is only as much as you give it. Our lives are genuinely the result of however we choose to perceive them. And that we can transform. For better or for worse. For now, for always. The power is in our hands. So go get yourself a bag of Cheetos. Thank you.